you've been playing Path of Exile, you've been in it for, 2 or 3 months, and you're looking around, and every damn person you see has a Bringer or Rain on. You're wondering, how the hell do people get that much currency to get that much gear? Well, I was the same exact person for the longest time. I have almost 600 hours into this game, so I put a little time into it, and it wasn't until the 304 hour, embarrassingly enough, it took that long for me to realize how to actually get currency. I was watching all these videos of people who, no life gaming, who put 16, 17 hours into a game. I just don't have that much time. I know I put 6 hours into a game, and I feel like I'm probably putting in a little more time than most people, but regardless of that, I know how to make a decent amount of currency so you can at least get the things that you want, and I'm going to go over those things right now with you guys. First off, there are a few websites out there that are very important. If you Google PoE info or PoE these two websites are going to give you a big heads up on what things are worth and the value of the currency that you actually have. As you can see, I don't have a ton of currency right now, so I'm not one of those crazy people, but I do have the things that I want. I got 3 different builds, and I have all the uniques and all the good items that I could need for those builds. So, first off, know those websites. I'll link them in the description down bottom so you guys can get directly to them, but those will help you a ton. Second, make a realistic build. When you're building your character, you need to build something that you know is going to have the survivability to get up into the 70 maps. I know for some people that may seem like it's nothing, but for some people that's a difficult thing to do. It's not easy to just hop into maps and blow them out of the water because you don't know what builds to make. But if you search the PoE forums, which I will also link in the bottom, there's actually a group of people who have actually made every viable build there is, some unviable builds, but there's just a ton of stuff to look at, some of which are really cheap to build, some are really expensive. But I highly recommend that you pick one of the cheaper builds. That way you're not disappointed in what you have, and you can get to the part of the game where you can actually start farming the currency. So, moving on from a realistic build, which once again I'd like to point out is very important, know the recipes. There's a recipe for chaos, for instance. A lot of people know what it is, but a lot of people don't use it. So if you have an over 60, or I don't know if it's 61 or 62, but it's 60 plus item level, which you can easily figure out by picking up an item, typing \item level, and it'll tell you that's a 69. So what you need to do is collect one of these for every piece that you'd have. So obviously 2 rings, an amulet, a helmet, chest piece, gloves, boots, belt, and a 2-handed or 2 one-handed weapons. When you sell these to the vendor, they're going to get a chaos out of it. There's a lot of junk that you're not using. So don't be a hoarder, for one, and for two, use the chaos recipe because this will get you a lot of currency. Secondly, if you don't ID items that are over level 60, or it might be 65, once again, the websites will be there so you'll be able to tell, you can get 2 chaos out of them. That's a lot more, obviously. I mean, I think my math isn't great, but that's double the chaos that you're going to get. And I mean, it's hard because for, like I said, the first 300 or 400 hours, I thought, there's a chance that everything I need could be, that next item. All I have to do is identify it, and it might be great. Fact of the matter is, you're going to go through so much junk in this game that it won't matter. So you're not going to need 2-handed mallets. You're not going to need a bow if you're not a bow class. You're not going to need one of those hybrid armor energy shields when you pick the build that you are going to stick with. So in other words, if your guy is all evasion, don't worry about armor. Keep those items unidentified and do the same recipe as before and get 2 because that will lead to an item that you actually want. That is super important. The most important thing that I learned over my time is trading up for currency. A lot of people look at alterations and they don't think much of them, you know what I mean? It's not that great, whatever. Fact of the matter is, if you go to docks and you pick up every single yellow and blue that there is, port back and sell those things, you'll have a ton of these. I go and I usually pick up the rings and amulets when I'm in maps just because they don't take up any space, but the fact of the matter is, if you do, like I said, with the docks, you're going to get a ton of these things. What does that mean? That means that you can trade up to get a ton of jeweler's orbs. What does that mean? You can trade up to get a lot of fusings. Now, there are a lot of recipes now with the new masters where you can 5-link something, for instance, with 150 fusings. That is, really good. You can 5-link an item that people want, and you just got yourself maybe an exalted or 2 off that. But more importantly, people want orbs of fusing. They need these things, and they go through them very, very quickly. To 6 link an item, you're talking like 500, 1,000 of these things. It takes just forever. So people are going to want to buy these, and when you go into trade chat, they're going to be buying them all the time. Trade them up to chaos, because really, people don't want to deal with you trading them fusings for an item. They want to deal with chaos or exalted, and that's just what that's what it is. Now, also be excited for the things that drop that aren't chaos. An orb of regret is worth a chaos. Two scourings turns into one regret, which equals a chaos. So you should be just as excited when you find an orb of regret or a scouring, because those things lead up to there. Use your recipes to get these things, and also trade up to get your chaos at all times. Like when I got my bringer arraign, I had like 1,000,000 chaos in here because they're 40 to 1 now. So you need a lot of them, but it's super easy to get. Also chisels, 2 to 1. You're probably not going to use those in most cases, and there are people out there that will. So moving on from there, collecting the blues, trading up, know your recipes, you can sell maps. So when you finally do get a character that is slightly viable and can get into the 67, 68 maps, you're going to start getting into the 70 maps. And when those start dropping, you can actually trade these for currency. I mean, it's kind of hard to just want to trade your maps because you want to run them, but I mean, in all honesty, if a map is worth a chaos, trade the extra ones you have. It's not that big of a deal, and you can get the items you want, and then you can start actually running the maps that are higher up, and it's a win-win. Also, a lot of these are worth money as well. I believe it's 2 to 1 right now, 2 of these for a chaos. So don't just sit around and wait for that big item to drop and think to yourself that you can't get currency because you can't get drops, when in fact the people that are getting the drops are the people that are doing the highest level maps, and the only reason they got to those high level maps is because they're constantly selling the stuff that they're not using. They have a viable build that they stick with, and they're also picking up a lot more items than you are going back and selling them. So like I said, I don't put a ton of time into here. I also am not the best gamer in the entire world, especially when it comes to Path of Exile. There's some crazy guys out there. But I do have 3 crazy good viable builds, and I have them all geared up because I concentrate on the build that I'm at. I get them to a point where they can run the high level 70, 75, that area, in the 70s maps. And I also am constantly looking out to trade up on my currencies. So those things should get you to a point where you can do it, and if you just focus on those things, I promise in no time you won't have to look around and see all those people with the items you want. You'll be the person that people are looking at with those items. So I hope that this video helped you out a whole bunch. If you want to see more Path of Exile coverage, I got a bunch of stuff on my YouTube, and obviously if you saw this, you know how to find that. So thank you very much for watching. Take care.